Hello YouTubers, today I'll be showing you my new telescopic ladder and I'll be installing the screen door crossbar. I've got another couple of upgrades here. The first one I'm going to show you is a replacement ladder. I currently have been using for the last several years one of these Werner folding ladders. The problem with this is that it flares out on the bottom and it's heavy and it's thick, so it makes it hard for me to store in the front of my truck, because where I put it is I have it on the very nose of the bed, and then I put my folding chairs in there. It's just awkward for me. So what I've done is I replaced it. And what I replaced it with is what most of your ears out there have, is a telescoping one-button ladder. It does come with a cross member on the bottom. What I'm going to be doing with this is it has two bolts that goes through the holes for stabilization. But in order to make it more packable, I'm just going to get a couple of pins the same diameter that I can just slip in there and latch, like a couple of quick release pins. But in the same time, or what I should go on, is that basically the ladder, it's got a stabilizer or strip bar, and then it all stacks up and it telescopes with one button. So it makes it easy to maneuver. So just by raising each one at a time. This goes up to about 12.5 feet. I haven't played with this too much, but I think it's going to work out quite well. I know I can't get it that easily with it down or up at the level by sitting on the tailgate, but I'm sure this is going to be a great improvement over what I've been using over the last several years. So again, it's going to be lighter weight because it's made of sturdy aluminum. It's also more compact, and it's going to be laying square, so it'll be easier for me to store. Now the links on this I will put in the comments. So this again came from Amazon. Here's another simple upgrade that I've made, or I've picked up, and that is a bar to go on to my screen. And basically it extends out to whatever width you've got, and it mounts. I'm going to put mine right below the handle here for two reasons. One, I can just reach down and pull it shut. The other one is I've got two pre-drilled holes, one here and one here, and that's going to make it easy for me for the install. Now the first thing I did is I went ahead and I put the ends in with the screw on the top hole that was already pre-drilled. You'd have to measure it out ahead of time before you did it on yours. I would probably recommend just having two holes about equally spaced below your screen line or your handle, and make sure it's level. Put in two holes, and then what I did is this slides in and it comes out like so. Okay? Then the next thing I did is I used a 1/8 inch drill bit and tapped a hole in on each one. So now I know where it's got to be. The next thing you want to do is you want to line this up or center it, and I'm just going to put it just about halfway or wherever I feel comfortable with it. This will be pretty good. And I'm going to draw a thin line right on the edge. That's what I'm going to use as my guide. Now, when that's done, I pull this out. And I'll take off my ends. The reason I'm doing that is there's two holes, one on each one of the ends, and we're going to line that up right where I drew my line. I'll put that on that side, and when I line it up, I will tap a hole in here and put another screw in. That's going to keep this from sliding back and forth, and it won't slide out. So I'll go ahead and do that, and then I'll come back. Okay, I went ahead and I drilled my holes in this end and this one and tapped in my screws. Another little thing you can do is you can take a piece of tape when you get this centered and just put a little piece of tape over the top of each one so it doesn't slide back and forth. Then when you put the first one on, match it up and see if your holes are lining up on the other side. If it does, you're golden. If not, just make your adjustments. You can also measure once you've got that centered up, or when you got it mounted up for the first rough touch or first rough mount, and when you just got the two top screws in, measure between these 2 points. And then when you get ready to drill your holes, flip it over, measure it again. There's several different ways you can do it, whichever works out best for you. So I just did it kind of like the backwards way. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to mount it to my screen door. I didn't tighten it down yet because I want to be able to move it. Yeah. Top ones are in. Now I'm going to go ahead and put the bottom ones in, and then I'll cinch them down. Okay. She's all set. Go ahead and pull this up. Then we'll check it from the inside. Light's pretty bad in here, so I apologize for that. I also have a little electric space heater going on, so you might hear that beeping. So let's give this a shot. Open it up. That seems to work pretty good. Again, I'm a little taller, but it's easy enough to pull it. And it's at a good height for Maryland. That's going to stop you from pulling on this guard or slide, which a lot of times you pull on that, and what that does is it pops it out. So you won't have that problem any longer. So that pretty much takes care of that little install. Again, that's another item I got through Amazon, and I'll put the link in the comments for you. Now, since I was already inside the camper, the last time I showed you my upgrade on my chairs, I didn't have the footrest up. I just wanted to give you a better idea of what it looks like. Again, little release on the right hand side, or on the right arm, but the foot comes up, makes it kind of nice and comfortable. Or else I prefer to have it just like a overstuffed chair or an easy chair. And I personally like to have the back sitting upright, and then I have a little stool that I sit with it. But it did make a real nice addition to the inside of our camper. And then of course I've got a little drawer system that I've had for a long time that I've got separated. Top two drawers are for Chester, middle two are for Maryland, and I get the bottom two. I usually put a lot of my little electronic stuff in there, little odds and ends for quick access for me. As I mentioned before on a previous video, I'm already had these covers on my steps on the back side of my camper. This is my main door, and again, it's the window I put in, which is I'm very happy with. But anyway, I went ahead and I put them on my front door as well. So every so often I'll have to step outside, whether it's just to turn my lights out or check on the dog or whatever. But I've got them on the front as well. And again, here you can see we've got 4 springs. This took me about 5 minutes to put on, so I'm not, I didn't even want to do a video on how to install it. It's pretty much self-explanatory. But if you've got this type of step, I highly recommend these covers. Do keep in mind, after a couple of years they do start to wear out. Mine start to wear off on the leading edge. But again, great add-on for your camper or RV. I hope you enjoyed this brief look at my most recent upgrades, and if you liked this video, please hit the thumbs up. If you haven't already, please subscribe. And most of all, thanks for watching.